Bruno, hello, my dear
Hello.
friend. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
No bad at all. It's great to have you here. I'm so chuffed that you decided to come along and spend a few minutes with me. As you know, I received a copy of your book a couple of weeks ago,
I know.
and
I know.
here it is. And I'm glad to say I've actually finished it. Cracking read.
Yay.
Cracking read. Listen, I wanted to ask you a few questions just
Yep.
to get a bit of insight as to why and how you wrote the book. So, listen, my first question to you is what made you want to write the book?
That's a good question. And lots of people have asked me this question. I didn't actually want to write a book. These were essentially when it started, it was just notes in a pad that became more notes and more notes and more notes. And originally, I just thought I'd just do like a little kind of maybe an ebook or an article or something small. But I was getting more and more information and I thought, well, I could do it. And then it became too big for an article. And then I thought, well, do you know what? I might as well do a book. And that's how it became a book. I didn't
Brilliant,
actually start it off to become
brilliant,
a book.
brilliant,
Short
brilliant.
story.
That makes so. Listen, how long would you say you had this project? I suppose once you determined that it was too big to make into an article,
Yeah.
from that moment on, how long would you say, okay, I'm going to make a book? How long was that process?
Originally, so if you take it from the moment I started to write into my, you're going back 2 years.
Okay.
But then I had a gap where work got really
Yeah.
busy. I kind of just didn't really have it as priority, and I put it to a side. But I actually restarted to write in lockdown last year.
Okay.
And then when I started to reread what I'd written, it wasn't actually that good. So I restarted again. So essentially, I wrote the book in lockdown last
Yeah.
year.
Which makes complete sense. It's a perfect opportunity that you took
Yeah,
to do
100%.
something that was sitting on a shelf. You got your manuscript, you got your bits and pieces, and you cracked on and did it. Makes complete
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
Um, Bruno, for those of us, I suppose I should rephrase this. I know you fairly well, but for the audience listen to this,
Yeah,
um, how long have you been in the fitness business? And I guess what got you into the fitness business?
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you're right. We know each other really well, and officially, I've been in the fitness industry, as in the business, for around about 5 years. But I've been in it longer than that. I essentially started my fitness journey around 7 years ago, and I started it purely because I needed to. I needed, as it goes into the book, and as you know about my story, I needed something to. I needed a different direction in life, and I was quite lucky that I fell into fitness, and it was from that point that I really took it in. I never when I first started, never thought I'd actually take it up as a full-time career. But you know what fitness is like. It grabs you, it changes you. And so I'd say around about 7+ years in total, but business-wise, about 5 years now.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, puts things into perspective. I love
Yeah,
how you highlighted that fitness sort of grabs you. That's quite visual, really, quite visual.
yeah. And you understand that, you really do.
Is very much the case. Um, in your book, you describe the pushback concept.
Yeah,
Do you want to just highlight this is in regards to when you've got some negative emotions, you've got problems on
yeah,
top of you, your mindset maybe isn't what it is, and you go into the detail of describing what your tactic or your technique is for
yeah.
pushback. Do you want to just go into a little bit of detail with that and
Yeah,
describe?
yeah. Pushback I've been using for a long time with various different people. Pushback is quite a harsh word. I always say to
Yeah,
people, and you know I do, it isn't a physical term. It's very much done mentally. And it originally came round where people, just because I was very positive, people just expected that everyone who's positive don't have any negative in their life.
yeah,
But it's never a
yeah,
never a smooth road. So it's what it does. It kind of prepares people. It helps people get out of a rut and helps them along the way. But what it also does, it prepares people who are positive for those dark days, for those negative days. And there is kind of like, I've done it like over steps. So where it basically prepares people that when a negative thing or someone tries to pull you back, it allows you to kind of just, and that's why that pushback comes into it.
But I
it
think,
allows you to,
is it right to say, Bruno, that the first thing you need to be is aware that you are getting into a negative place to think, I need to push back? The first thing is the awareness of it, isn't it?
it all depends on the situation. In my book, I talk about the different kind of variations because sometimes you don't even know it's coming.
Okay.
And others you can see coming from a mile off. You know it's going to be problems, you know, or you could just wake up in the morning and bang, you've got it. But it's how you deal with it. So, like for example, straight away, you know, most people will panic if things go wrong. They start to panic.
Yeah.
You know, and if you take a step out, take a step back, you know, and realize that it is a negative, but you've dealt with negatives before. It's all a learning curve.
Yeah.
And it's allowing you where, you know, I used it in two forms of pushback.
Yes, you did.
One pushback is that someone or something is pushing you back into a negative space or a negative place. And the other pushback is you going, no, I'm not having it. I'm stronger. I'm much better than what I was. And then there's ways that you can learn, adapt, and kind of get out of that. Yeah. So it's very much about how to learn how to take the situation for what it is, because every situation will be different.
Yeah.
But knowing that there's steps by steps of how to essentially get out of it and improve that dark day,
that dark place, that dark moment. Okay, that's brilliant. Thanks for that. The other thing you talk about in your book is the concept of the nudge, which makes me smile because it rhymes with fudge. Okay? So it's got a sort of a warm element.
I've never had that one before.
Nudge and fudge is sort of a nice word. Just describe a little bit what you mean by nudge and how you can actually apply it and use it.
Yeah. Now, nudge, people hear nudges in different terms depending on where you are in the world. Nudges is another thing, once again, that I've used personally. I still do it. But nudges is very much what people use to help them with routines, habits, trying to keep something in place. And a simple nudge could be a Post-it note on your desk, for example. It could be like, don't forget to drink water. Don't forget to, I don't know, take the bins out on a Thursday. You know, it could be anything. And people have been using nudges, even though they call it reminders, but a nudges is more of something that you want to change yourself.
Would you say a nudge could be like a trigger in terms of habits?
100%.
Okay.
And that's exactly what the nudge is. The nudge is a trigger. Originally, there is two forms. Some people will only use it for the kind of routines, the habit changes. You know, you want to improve, and you know, I can't remember everything, and you use these Post-it notes or nudges to basically remind you. And then you get the other form of a nudge, which essentially is like a timeout.
Yeah.
It's basically where you have the word nudge, if you wanted to, or timeout, however you how, you know, it's better for your mindset, and you have it or you have it somewhere.
Yeah.
And when you feel that you are getting stressed, you've had a stressful conversation at work, or you're just about to send a really aggressive email, you know, that's when you take a nudge and you take a 5 minutes time out.
Brilliant.
And the 5 minutes time out essentially is because people know that by taking 5 minutes away from the situation will allow your heart rate to drop, your blood pressure drops. And then what happens when you walk back into that situation, you realize that the aggressive email was going to get you nothing. You know, and
that timeout is so important, isn't it? Sometimes
so.
if you see something that winds you up on an email, you go, I'd be better off going to have a cup of tea, coming back, looking at it again, and the response is probably going to be more not to do things in the heat of the moment. Essentially, that's a very valid point.
And the biggest thing with the nudge as well is that people carry pressures throughout the days, and then that carries on and carries on. If they don't put in these nudges, these timeouts, what you end up finding is that your little things that bother you end up being masses of weight on your shoulders
because they've accumulated. Yeah.
Where if you simply, every time you get stressed out, every time something just bothers you, take just a step back, take a little time out, like you said, make yourself a cup of tea. you'll be amazed with a fresh pair of eyes how all of a sudden it doesn't look as bad as what it actually is.
And if you get that into the habit of doing this regularly, you probably get to 5 o'clock in the evening less stressed out than if you just saw bottles up.
100%.
That's a
100%.
very valid point. Bruno, after writing this tremendous book, okay, which I love, what would you like someone who reads it? What would you hope that the reader will take away from your book?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I'm getting better with this question. I get this question asked as well quite a bit, and I'm getting better answering this one because at the beginning I had no idea. You know, to have a book out was, as you know, was very overwhelming for me. But now I'm getting feedback. I'm getting people who have read it and actually telling me. And what it seems to be, as much as what I would love people to, I would love people just to be able to walk away with a smile on their face, be able to be able to feel better in themselves. But if I can get someone to just change one negative thing in their life from this book, for me, it's a win.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm hearing is that it's doing that. You know, people telling me that they've managed to find a quote that really kind of just, it's a little spark in their head. And it's not the whole book in general. There's like snippets for different people that they're using, and they're going, well, I could adapt that, and it's not hard, and I can use that, and it's improved themselves, and they get to have a smile on their face, which is I love.
So I suppose it brings you back to thinking where you pick something out of a book. It's akin, I guess, to a toolbox where you were going to repair something. You'd pick the tool that you need for that moment, perhaps. It's got multiple pieces in it that can be of use at different times. I like it.
Yeah, I never. The book was never meant to be just one message.
Okay.
Because I'm not like that. I believe that I've got lots of different messages that I can give, and that's exactly what I wanted the book to be. I wanted there to be a message for someone, or for anyone, or for me, and because I've learned lots of different messages through life, and I think this is the key point. You don't just go through life and learn one message, or learn one thing. You're constantly learning. So there's hundreds of thousands of things that you'll learn in life. So if I've made a book that's got something for, or one thing for someone, then it's great. It's pretty good.
It's a book with multiple messages. I
hope so.
Yes. And I guess this is my final question. We know you are huge on challenges. You clearly described to your challenges in a lot of detail.
Yeah.
There's a 48-hour static bike ride in the gym, which is absolutely amazing. There is the other one, which takes you from the Edinburgh Castle all the way down to Windsor Castle. Again, truly amazing. And I believe you got another challenge planned when hopefully circumstances are a little bit better. Do you want to just briefly mention that challenge to us?
Yeah. So you're totally right when you use circumstances. So we've had to, obviously, I say cancel it, but cancel it's not the correct word because we're delaying it.
Postponing it. That's right.
Postponing it, yeah, because essentially we can't do anything with COVID, unfortunately. But my challenge is, as you know, all my challenges are in memory of my father, who passed away of a heart attack, and so even the book is in memory of him.
That's right.
So what I do is I've decided to do like a final ride, and my final ride is essentially riding from my father's or my family's family home in Windsor, in England, and I will be cycling all the way down to where he was born in the south of Italy.
Brilliant.
So it's going to be essentially going across 4 countries.
Okay.
But the actual distance itself it works out to be around about 2,500 kilometers. But the actual distance people have done before.
Yes.
So we thought we'll make it a little bit interesting along the way. So essentially the challenge is I only have a little bit of money, and essentially what I'll have to do is find shelter every night. So I'm going to be cycling obviously every day, but every single night I will essentially have to find somewhere to stay or sleep. Otherwise I'm sleeping on the side of the road, and essentially get food. So I have to do a bit of work or something. But it's a continuation. So I'm hoping to complete the whole lot within around about 28 days.
Brilliant. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be next year. with a little bit of
Yeah.
luck. Yeah, that would be
it will
really
be.
nice. Well, Bruno, I just wanted to delve a little bit into the book, which has been absolutely brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. And I
My
look
pleasure.
forward
Thank you for bringing me on.
Absolutely brilliant, Bruno. Listen, enjoy the rest of your day and stay strong and stay
Always.
energized, Bruno.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye now.
Take care.